and the front door was completely shut, dining room full of people, and all of a sudden we had 1 or 2 pine cones just fly across the room. And I said, I can't be the only person who saw that.
Have any of you had experience with the supernatural?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So I've had a couple times, but actually I have an alien story.
Oh, okay.
All right. So I believe in my old apartment in Hollywood years and years ago, probably 35 years ago, I had this dream that these little men were around my bed and they were 3 on each side. And I was dreaming it and I couldn't wake up and I couldn't move. And then when I finally woke up, I was just drenched in sweat and I ran to my neighbor's apartment. And my neighbor was always up all night and I freaked out and I actually slept there for about 2 weeks but I really believed in my dream they were holding me down and they were like looking at me. And so when I woke up, I was that afraid
What did
and
they
I was
look
just
like?
sweating. They were about this tall and they had little hats and there were 3 on each side and they were like real, like green aliens. To this day, I think that was really happening.
Wow. Woo.
I do.
That was
Okay.
scary.
Yeah.
I had a premonition, and I decided that my whole family had to sleep across the street and up the hill. And that night, a little bitty alien came. No one else saw him but me. And he was very short, and he had on a little straw hat, and he had on coveralls and a wonderful little shirt. And we visited all night, and the next morning, when the sun came up, it was this enormous sun, and it was coming up right next to me. And when everybody from the family woke up, suddenly he was gone, and it was over.
Do you
But-
remember like talking to him?
Yes, I remember talking to him, but the thing is that I hadn't remembered it until you told your story.
Wow. Do you remember what you were drinking?
No, I wasn't drinking, but good try.
Or smoking.
No.
And I have one too about in January of this year, for the first time, I went to a seance with like 8 people in the Hollywood Hills. I'll tell you guys like where to go if we ever want to do it. She's amazing. She's on TV shows and stuff like that. And I was a little skeptical, but her house was lovely and there were candles everywhere. And she said, bring something. So I brought my mom's ring. And we channeled my mom and my dad. And my dad's, because my daughter was pregnant. And I said to my dad, what about naming my daughter's, was going to have a baby, so him after you? And he was like, no, do not name the baby after me. So she has all these devices, like she has these sticks that get generated. Sometimes it's a no, sometimes it's a yes. And a voice boxes and... It was amazing, and it wasn't expensive.
No thanks. I would never do
I
that.
want to go again. Anybody wants to go?
Well, they
let me
do it
know.
at the Magic Castle.
Castle.
Yeah.
You know, they say the Magic Castle is haunted. I believe
Could
that.
be.
Yeah.
Could be.
Maybe.
I believe that.
I don't know. Between the alien experiences I've had and everything else, and don't forget, I did grow up in San Francisco in the 60s. So there was some influence from outside that went into all those. But when I was little, and I was kind of a turnkey kid, I had a lot of time for myself, and I grew up in a forest. We were the only house there. And so I was very close to the animals in my life. And I was the youngest in our family, and both my parents were the youngest in their large families. So when I was young, I went to a lot of funerals. A lot of the older members had passed away. So I started learning the concept of death and what happens after that. And there were several times, and this is probably before I even started kindergarten, and I'd be hanging out sitting with one of our cats or dogs or whatever the heck it was, and all of a sudden I realized the way they were looking at me. And I said, I know those eyes. And they were eyes of one of my dead relatives.
And you knew this young.
But the eyes were where it was at. It was coming out to me, and I would have conversations with them.
That's amazing.
And it's now that I look back on it, I'm going, boy, what a gift. Or was I just, I wish I kept on to that with that imagination, that depth of imagination. It must have been either that or it really was the spirits.
Well, they say when
coming
you're
through to
young,
me.
They say
when you're
open.
young, you're more
Yeah.
open.
And that's why you can learn languages at an earlier age and whatnot. But especially this one big Persian cat we had. And I know, and her name was Beulah, but I know that Grandpa, my big Norwegian grandpa, used to visit me through her
Wow.
several times.
That's pretty-
and,
Wow.
I close my eyes, I can see us. We're in the sun on the steps of the back porch of the house, and it's blue skies. We're surrounded by the forest, and the cat and I are just kind of communing, and it's a very warm memory. And for me, it really happened.
Okay, well, nothing as close as exciting as yours, but one of my best friends, when his mother passed, she was cremated, and the ashes were put in a box. He put the box on a desk in the room next to the bedroom, all the windows closed. There was no wind that night, and he woke up the next day, and all these papers had blown off the table. And he felt like it was a sign from his mother to do something. And I think what it
Sounds
was
like
to clean up or something. But
It was clean up, or what were the papers?
What were the
Yeah,
It was-
papers? Yeah, it might have
I
been the
don't
secret
remember
will.
what the papers were, but that was the closest I've come through him that Rory,
Right.
his mom, had come back, because there's no wind, there's no explanation. So I believe in the supernatural, like something happened.
Wow.
I definitely.
Yeah, you couldn't explain it.
No,
You
that's
couldn't-
it.
you
That's
woke
why
up,
it's,
right?
It's pretty bizarre.
I've always believed in supernatural and aliens and stuff. I think I'm sure the aliens built the pyramids, Stonehenge.
Well, it's
and
2
Walmart.
miles deep
Yeah.
now.
And Walmart, yeah,
And
the first
Walmart.
Walmart,
You
yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Imagine
So
trying to
it
build
could-
those pyramids. How long? I mean, moving all those blocks.
Yeah.
Who can
Well,
believe
That
that?
could be
I think
aliens.
Thousands of
there's-
years ago that
forget
happened.
the alien theory, like they're little green people or something like that. I feel like there's another planet or another universe going on at
Dimension.
the same
Dimension.
time as us. Maybe they're,
Different realms.
Yeah, maybe they're all in black and white.
You
We're
know?
in color.
Yeah.
There was something on this earth before us.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could be
and that
older than
built
we
the
think.
pyramids or did something.
And it
It's like
wasn't just
scary.
dinosaurs.
No,
No,
before that-
they even
before that,
talk
just-
about it biblically in the Bible. They talk about giants,
Yep.
right?
Right.
Giants
Nephilim,
doesn't
yeah.
really mean it's dinosaurs.
Right.
Yeah.
Doesn't
Yeah.
really mean that. It's kind of fascinating right now what's happening about the pyramids.
Yeah, that is. And I like that. I
That's
wish they would
supernatural.
Find out if that's
I
really
think
true. That
it's
that's underneath.
fascinating
Yeah.
about everything that's happening now, and that we have been so asleep that we don't realize how fascinating it is.
It really
Yeah.
is, yes.
Well, I think you're living your life. That's what you're raising a family, or you're having a career, and you're doing all this stuff, and all of a sudden you get to sit back and
Slow down.
observe, and then you go, "What?"
What the heck have
Yeah.
I been missing?
Yeah,
Yes.
except that the fact that we are so busy living this life, and this life values are so ridiculous that I think if we don't all wake up and include the, becoming more authentic, becoming more real,
That's exactly it. Becoming more authentic,
Authentic.
our authentic self.
Now, if you
Right.
could visit a planet, would it be Pluto, Mars, or Uranus?
Oh,
it would be Earth for me, man.
Yeah,
I
that's
had
real
someone
here.
told me one time that I wouldn't be coming back to Earth, and I protested. I got out in a forest on the way home, and I started shouting to the Earth how much I love it, how much I love the trees. If I was coming anywhere, that's what we don't understand, that we are on the warmest, most wonderful. It has water, it has trees, it has all of this greatness, and we don't take care of it. We're idiots.
well,
Yep.
And then I think being excited for the unknown, right? And not being afraid of the unknown.
Welcoming the
Right?
unknown.
Yeah, but did you see
Come
what?
on and get me. Unknown. Come on, I'm right here. I'm right
Well, we'll
here.
put a light force.
Yeah. So, out of the 6 of us, do we have any non-believers in the afterlife, aliens, that whole realm? Anyone?
We all know it's true.
Well, I don't think about non-believing. I mean, I think if you believe that you're a soul, like I believe I'm a soul, I believe I'm going to go to heaven. So if there's light, there's dark. If there's, pure energy, then there's energy and spirit. So I couldn't imagine not, right?
Yeah.
There definitely is.
Right.
I mean,
you have to have negative with
right.
positive,
Like I think,
dark with
right.
light.
I
yeah.
think there's no way. There definitely is.
Right,
And that's
but
why we
I-
can even tap into it or not.
But I would also like to say, what if this is heaven and we're so busy getting to
great.
heaven that we're not letting
Exactly.
ourselves be in heaven?
But you can let yourself be here and live life here
I know,
without thinking
but-
that you can't.
I know we are here and we are living our life here. But what I mean is, like, picture a shopping mall and here are 2 doors. One of them says, "Get ready to get to heaven." And there's a long line of people waiting. Over here it says, "This is heaven, welcome."
Yeah, welcome.
And no one is standing in front of it, and no one's going through that door because we don't realize that with a simple little shift of our imagination, this is heaven.
Well, you can make this happen. You can have heaven on earth.
But the
it's your
one thing-
perspective.
Change
Sorry.
the
The one thing I
frequency.
don't believe in, and I don't.
Change the frequency.
Oh, I don't believe. I thought you were tapping me.
That was an alien.
An alien.
The one thing I don't believe in, and people are not going to like this, but I don't believe in astrology. I just
Oh, the
don't.
planets.
I
It's
don't
like
know enough about
like I
it.
won't
Like-
go. I know friends who won't go out on a date with
Oh,
somebody
yeah.
because
Oh,
they're
yeah. They
not the
need-
right sign. I mean, that's, I mean, you're just missing out.
Yeah.
I
Well,
agree
there
with
are
that.
certain
I
signs
agree
you
with
should stay away
not
from.
believing in
Yeah,
astrology.
like or
Well, I think there's a part of that might seem true. I like the Aries women.
yeah.
I get
Three
along with Aries women.
right here.
Yeah, I find it
Yeah.
interesting. It adds a little something,
Right.
but at the end of the day, it's what I really feel inside about someone.
yeah, I
Yeah.
agree.
Yeah,
with
I
you.
can't. The stars can't tell me. Oh, you have this and this and this and this trait. No, it's the way you were brought up, where you were brought
There's a
up.
lot of
situation
elements.
that affects
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
Not,
I've never been into
not the stars.
astrology. I
No.
just,
Yeah.
because I guess maybe because I have an identical twin and we're so opposite.
Yeah.
Born the
There
same
you
day,
go.
the same
that must
minute.
be
Yeah.
so interesting.
And
You're
we're
an
completely
identical
opposite.
twin?
That's what I've been told.
Yeah.
Oh my
I have to
word!
meet that twin sometime.
yeah,
Bring them
Me
on the
too.
show.
Yeah.
Okay, so this week is a very special week because we are twins. You and me, Galen. It's
What?
birthday week. Galen's birthday was yesterday, and mine is tomorrow.
Happy
birthday to us. Happy birthday, dear Galen. Happy birthday, dear everybody.
Everybody in the
Happy
house.
birthday to you.
Many more.
Yeah, Galen. So how old are you turning?
Listen, I have a thing about age. When people say to me, "Wow, I love your energy. How old are you?" I say, "How old do you want me to be?" Because I can
Yeah.
be any age.
That's right.
Yeah.
I can be any age because I find that when you give a number to someone, it makes a difference. I don't want that difference. So
They
I
start
just
assuming
say,
things, yeah.
never mind, none of your business.
Well, I mean, do you feel any different? Is there anything?
Younger and younger and younger and younger and
Awesome.
younger.
Do you have any goals for this age?
I don't mind
people
talking
might-
about how old I am.
Well,
That's
yeah, I was
okay.
just
I mean,
gonna
I'm
ask you
turning
about that.
75 tomorrow. Ba, ba, boom. And everyone's that I know, other than you guys, they're always like, I can't believe it. A lot of my friends are young as some of these people in the room.
Right.
And my kids, they don't see it, and I don't see it, and I don't feel it. I feel like all the ages that I was. Like some days I feel 16. Sometimes I feel 25. you
Right,
know?
right,
And sometimes, I mean, like I look in the mirror, I actually don't see all the stuff because mostly I can't see. But but I
That
don't.
helps.
One, that was a good one.
Maybe
don't-
that's why
I
we
don't
lose our
see it
sight.
because also you're seeing in a dimension. I'm not. Unless you're in the reflection, the mirror that has you magnified, and you're looking at things. That
Oh,
need to come-
those. No, I hate
come
those
out.
mirrors. No.
I just feel. I feel joyous to be alive.
Oh,
And I
boy,
think
me
you
too.
do.
Oh,
All of
boy,
us in
me
this
too.
Yeah.
room.
And that's not an age thing. There's a lot of people that aren't joyous, and
That's
they're
right.
very young.
Yep.
So.
Yeah.
And we've all had hardships, so it's not
Every
like
single one of us.
yeah, so it's not like, oh, we're so cool and we're so
Yeah.
we have a gifted life, because we're doing this thing. No, everybody has had stuff happen to them. But we have to. I want to stay alive.
Frankly, in supernatural tones, I think that's why we have gone viral, and I think it's why we're a success.
Yeah.
Because it's time for all of those ideas about aging to be done with, and
Exactly.
for older in years people to be treated in a different way. And I think that's why people love Retirement House.
Well,
Or not to assume, right, what a person feels like because they're a certain age.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
Perspective.
I'm dancing on tables.
exactly.
You are where? I want to dance
In
on a
bars.
table again.
Here,
Okay, all
Here
right.
in Retirement House, I've been dancing on tables. Let me tell you, they hired me for 2 shoots 3.5 years ago, and we went viral in a week. And I'm still in Retirement House 3.5 years, Chuck.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
I have been doing this for 3.5 years, and I honestly believe that this is why I came to Earth, to help break up the ridiculous ideas of aging.
We had
I
a
love
we had a
that.
million followers in 3 weeks.
3
Something-
weeks.
Wow.
Right.
It
Yep.
was
And all it
can
took
I
was
add-
me breaking a sugar bottle
Oh,
over
yeah.
Chuck's head.
I like the one with,
And
I just
enjoying
saw
it.
the one with the wine glass. Who was that?
Oh,
Where
oh,
you-
that
was
you're
Bobby.
leaning back.
Yeah,
and
that was Bobby. Bobby and Galen.
Oh,
Bobby
yeah.
That's
and
a
Galen.
great way
Yeah.
of drinking wine.
That was one of our all-time highest hits.
And-
Yeah, I
and
wanna
remember
drink
we-
wine
we,
like
we
that.
went on Good Morning America.
Uh-huh.
My line was, I really didn't know what TikTok was.
Well,
And I'd go home and they say, you're the star. I said, yeah, but it's only TikTok.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
now TikTok is big and we're going bigger and 20
And
million
Instagram.
views on
It's
just
exciting.
what
one
do
of
you
them.
guys
go on.
think? Because you've been doing this a lot longer than Franny and I. But why do you think they watch it?
Because we are breaking up the idea of aging. And I say to everyone, embrace aging. It's fun. It's full of joy, but don't let them trick you
I
into
think-
getting old.
I think they know that
have
everyone
been.
knows one
It's
day they're
been a
going to be
trick.
here.
Well, yeah, but then again, a lot of the comments, especially when we first started, and we were maybe we hadn't looked at the comments as much as we thought, but all of a sudden we realized they're writing in and they're saying thank you so much,
Yep.
just for being who we are.
Right.
You bring back my grandpa that's not around anymore. You bring back my relatives that I long to see and I never get to visit them.
I was having a bad day, but you made me laugh.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
And that's just about my left-handed compliment was, oh, that's really a young man made up to look old.
Right. They
Are
say
there
that
any
The problem is I don't use that much makeup, so
Yeah.
yes, I look this old. That's,
Yeah.
Are there any negative comments? I mean, has anyone seen any? I didn't know.
I've only seen not negative comments, but people trying to use our site, putting on, I need $300.
Oh, yeah. The
Oh,
people
I've
that
seen that.
sneak in
People
there.
sneaking
yeah.
in there, but no, I haven't seen negative.
The closest thing to a negative comment would be like when they say, they're young people that are dressing up as old
People.
Oh.
People.
Yeah, and that's not
And what is
really
dressing old?
Yeah.
We were
Yeah.
just talking about
Yeah.
the ladies here. We were like, I don't want to ever dress old.
It's wearing
what
clothes.
is that?
It's wearing
Like-
old clothes from the 60s. And
You know,
70s.
but-
Yeah, this
Polly
is my
Adams shirt.
favorite
But I will
shirt
never
from
do that.
Never.
Yeah.
I saw this in Goodwill and I had to pick it up.
I saw a couple of comments that they mentioned they thought I was young. I'm like, look, I'll be 70 in a month or two.
Oh, you're one of the kids. You're younger than
I'm
I
like,
am.
come
I'm
on.
a baby.
Yeah, you're a baby. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm old enough to be here, believe
We're
me.
taking
Yeah.
you back to have a check on how old your brain is.
Yeah, I need to know
That
that.
would
love
be
to do that.
interesting.
Oh, I
That would be
love that.
interesting.
All right. Let's come back to Earth for a minute. Woo, bring your woo-woo back.
Boo
I
was
want
here.
each of us to pick up from this deck one card of mysterious questions and answer honestly.
Okay. Well, all right.
Well,
Everybody pick a
I'm
card.
Oh,
kind of
okay.
superstitious, so
You
I'm
can't
wait
look at it,
for
though.
everybody.
Don't look at
Don't
your
look at it.
cards
Just
yet.
pick a card. That's
show
I
us.
said.
Don't look
My
at it. We
bad.
all pick.
My bad.
All right, you pick yours.
Okay, that's what you meant. I thought, okay.
Now you can look at your cards, and we'll start with the ladies. If you can pick the card up.
Okay, you're a jaded rock star. What 3 things are you demanding in
Really?
every dressing room? Well, back in the day, in the early 80s, it would have been, probably a big line of blow.
Exactly.
But
That's cocaine for those who don't know.
but
With a straw.
now it would be
Not that I know.
a quinoa salad.
Boring. Yeah, but yeah.
So your arch nemesis calls you in a panic and says, against all odds, they need sex advice from you. What are you telling them? Well, I guess I'd tell them to fuck everything around.
Oh my goodness!
Boom, boom.
X-rated show. It just became X-rated. Okay.
That sounds
Wow.
fun.
Okay.
It's your birthday tomorrow.
You said to answer it. You said to answer it honestly.
Yeah,
Yes. Okay.
exactly. Okay, what piece of life advice are you sure as shit not listening to?
Ah.
Well,
Sure as
my
shit.
mom came from her generation. She was born in 1926, and everything was like, no, don't go outside. No, don't eat that. No, don't wear your hair like that. Keep your dress long, Don't pull it up like I always did when I left the house. So I would say yes to everything.
Yep.
I'm not saying dangerous things.
Right.
I'm saying say yes.
To life.
Get on the bus. And as Ram Dass said, or Baba Ram Dass said, be here now. And this is the only dance there is.
Right.
Right? So this is it.
That's right.
Go for it.
Right. Absolutely.
Okay.
Well, that. So you work at a haunted house. After a wild night of office party, you wake up next to your boss, Dracula. How do you both handle it Monday morning?
I wouldn't handle it.
When was the office party? Friday night? And we're waking up Monday morning?
Wow, that's a long.
Marty.
I think there was some handling going on. Well, I don't know. How would I handle it on Monday morning?
When you went home to your wife.
I think I'd have to go to the blood bank. The doom doom.
Okay. No. Aliens are challenging humanity to a game of basketball. Who are the 4 non-athletes joining you on the floor to defend planet Earth? I think my retirement house family.
We're gonna win that game then.
Galen, Monterey, Bubby, and Jerry.
Whoa. Well,
That's 4. That's our
There you
our
go.
family.
Yeah.
Because
The goats.
we want to stay on this planet. We want to keep this planet going, keep our show going. So yes, I
Okay.
take those 4.
very good.
Good selections. You get 1 all expenses paid steamy night in paradise with any cartoon character. Who are you inviting? I think I'm going to age myself here. I think anybody remember Betty Boop?
Yes. Who doesn't love Betty
on
Boop?
Broadway
Betty
right
Boop
now.
and me all night long, baby.
Betty
We're doing the
Boop.
thing. We
I love
booping
Betty
all
Boop.
night. We booping all night.
Dirty thought. That was good.
Hey.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. So I
very
picked
good.
the good one then. 'cause
Yeah,
it was good.
great one.
I was going to say
Yeah.
Waja Wabbit.
Oh.
Oh, God, I love that movie,
Does she have a friend? No,
Now for our first ever call-in segment.
Wow. Okay. We asked you to call in and share your craziest supernatural stories with us. Spirits, aliens, demons, whatever kept you up at night. I can't wait to speak with some of you. So let's get the first caller.
Yes.
Hey.
Hello,
Hi there.
Anastasia.
Hello.
Hi. Nice
Hi.
to meet you.
Hello.
Woo-hoo.
Hello. It's so good to meet you all.
It's
to meet
wonderful
you.
to meet
You.
you.
You're beautiful.
Yes.
Thank you.
So cute.
Made my day.
All right.
Good.
Well, this is our first ever segment like this for call-ins. And so please introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we'll get into it.
So my name is Anastasia. I am on the East Coast. I'm in Pittsburgh. So I'm 31, and yeah, thumbs up for Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm 31, and I do love the Pittsburgh Steelers. We haven't had the
Okay.
best season,
Yay.
but yay! But I love watching the retirement house on Instagram. You guys bring me so much joy. It is probably one of the best parts of my day, getting to scroll through my feed and seeing you all there. So
Wow.
Great.
We appreciate that. We appreciate
Well,
that.
you hit it
cool.
on right on the nose about what we want to do for our fans out there.
Yes.
That's so wonderful.
Yep.
And we'll send you a bill.
Yeah. So I understand you have a story for us about a place.
I do. So I used to work at a haunted restaurant years ago, and we would tell everybody that it was haunted, but nobody ever believed us. So right around Christmas time, I was working at the hostess stand, and the door, we had this big giant wooden door that was so loud, it would slam shut every time, and everyone would think it was the ghosts. It was never the ghosts, but we're sitting there, dining room is full of people right around Christmas time. And the cabinet that was to the right of the hostess stand, probably by about like 10 to 12 feet, was decorated with a bunch of garland and pine cones. And the front door was completely shut, dining room full of people. And all of a sudden, we had one or two pine cones just fly across the room. And I said, I can't be the only person who saw that. I can't be, and the entire dining room just stopped and said, that pine cone flew across the room. So it wasn't just me who saw it. It was a dining room full of people. And we always called them our friendly ghosts. But that was proof.
So
That was proof that it happened and more than one person saw it.
Did anyone get hurt?
No, it miraculously not. It was a very large pine cone for like the standard size of pine cones as they go.
Yeah.
But gravity just tends to bring something straight down, and this one had a trajectory, so definitely out of the normal.
Right, like it was thrown, it wasn't dropped.
Yes.
That's just been a wonderful visit with you and a wonderful story. And I want to thank you so much
Yes.
for being the first of our
Yes.
fans to call in and be part of this segment at Retirement House.
Thank you. And thanks for being a Steeler fan.
And
We love
you.
Steelers. I do.
Yeah, watch
so.
out for flying pine cones.
Thank you.
Yes, and
Yes.
thanks for watching Retirement House.
Yes.
Yes.
Tell your
you.
friends.
Thank you.
Thanks
you.
Thank
again.
you.
Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye.
Hey. Hi, Vicky.
Hi, Vicky.
Hi, Vicky.
Nice to meet you.
Hello, Vicky.
Nice to meet you. And tell us a little bit about yourself and where you are.
I am in Northern California. I'm a Texas.
Oh,
I know.
And
I miss Pennsylvania.
well, we
I
can
miss
go.
Southern California so much, but I'm actually a Texas native. I came to California during COVID.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Welcome.
From where?
And I grew up being raised by my grandparents. I started working in independent living communities at 23, running communities, living on site, raising my kids in communities. So I love watching how vibrant you guys are and the content you put together, because I've met so many seniors that are so underestimated.
Thank you.
They
Thank
can
you.
live a
Thank
big
you.
life. And you bring
Absolutely.
that to young people's perspective. You are opening their minds.
I hope
So,
so.
Thank you.
Thank you so
That's
much.
great.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Truly are. But this has been my passion. So I've been doing this for about 20 years.
Wow.
Oh.
Thank
Nice.
you.
Great.
Well, so we hear you have a story to tell. Ooh,
Oh,
mysterious.
yeah.
And what is it about? Supernatural?
It's a scary story. You might get the chills.
Okay, we're ready.
All right. So back in 2011, I was living in a retirement home with over 200 seniors, running operations in the daytime. My office and my apartment were right next to each other, and right up above was our theater room. I had heard from previous managers that lived in that apartment that they could hear furniture at night being moved around, but I never experienced that myself. But this one particular night, and I've had other experiences, but this one stands out. This one particular night, me and my husband were in our bed just relaxing, and we could hear things moving. It sounded like chairs moving around. At the same time, it was raining outside, it was thundering, it was as creepy as it could be. And so we looked at each other like, what is going on up there? So we walk out, we go up some stairs, and he stopped at the stairs. He was already freaking out. Of course, I had to muster up the courage to go into the theater. And when I get into the theater, I got all these chills. It's dark, and I see all of the theater chairs spread out like they were not in their place. And I'm just kind of looking around like, what is going on? We had a grandfather clock that was there that a previous resident had donated. It did not work when she donated it. And it was there in memory of her. While I was up there, it chimed. The grandfather clock chimed.
Yeah, through sound, right?
It was not on a half hour. It was not on an hour. And it was not working at all. I could never explain why that happened.
Wow.
It was so creepy. I got the chills. I felt hair just standing up in my arms.
Sure.
Yep.
And also in addition to that, every night we could hear someone running at 2 a.m.
Wow.
Oh.
They were doing it 2 a.m.
Running.
We could never explain who it was. At first I thought it's the paper boy. No, he comes at 5 a.m.
No.
And I thought I was crazy. And one day a caregiver, we're answering an emergency at night. It was part of my job. And she says to me, hey, who is running at 2 a.m. all the time?
Could it have been ghosts or aliens? What if it was aliens instead of ghosts? What do you think?
Well, then they love this building. But I looked at her and I thought to myself, you hear it too. My husband was with us and he says, did you tell her about it? And I said, no, I told you I wasn't crazy. But the grandfather clock, that was really, that experience tops a lot of my experiences because it was a grandfather clock that was very important to us. And we have no explanation as to why it chimed. Why did all the chairs get moved around? It was really interesting.
Kind of freaky.
Yeah.
And who's running?
And also, did it happen again, or was it this one time? Or, I mean, other people felt it, but for you?
It happened again, but never with the grandfather clock.
Wow.
Listen,
Yeah.
Vicki, do you have any remembrance of what time of year that happened? Because November 1st is the Day of the Dead, when dead people,
Oh, yeah.
they're invited to come back and visit people that are dear to them.
It was in October.
Oh,
So
October.
okay. It was
That's
a warm
close.
Up. Yeah.
Warm up.
Yeah.
It was pre-Day of the Dead.
Yeah.
and we celebrate Day of the Dead very much in El Paso because of the culture. So that makes a lot of
Absolutely.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay.
sense. Yeah.
Well, I love your story. I
Me
love
too.
the idea that someone who really cared about you could ring a clock in order to say, I love you.
and that you welcome
Oh,
them
yeah.
in, because Galen was just saying about that a lot of ghosts don't get enough love. So the fact that you welcome
That's
them
right.
in is awesome.
They're
So,
lonely.
yeah.
They can't
Yeah.
visit.
Well, that's
Right.
wonderful.
Yeah.
That's a wonderful story.
I wouldn't.
And it was really great
You're
to
welcome.
Great
I
to
hope I
meet
get
you.
the opportunity to meet all of you.
Yeah.
I would
Come on out to LA.
Come on down.
Yes.
I would love to.
All right. Thank you.
Well, we might need to sage the studio after that.
Yeah.
Well, we want to thank say a huge thanks to everyone that called in. I mean, you've really raised the bar for us. So see you next Sunday, and don't forget to subscribe.